Welcome to another episode of Bowcast. This is the archery podcast with the new school archer in mind. Bowcast covers everything from tips, techniques, and archery technology that will help raise your success in the field. And now, here is your host, covering the straight shot, Carrie Zilka.
Welcome to another episode of Bowcast. This week, we're chatting with Michael Leaf from Backwoods Life and VP of Marketing for Lethal Products. We're going to chat a little bit about some turkey hunting tactics because we're all on lockdown and there's really just nothing else to do except go hunting and fishing. So, Michael, welcome to the show.
Hey, how are you doing? I'm glad to be on the relaunch, the revitalized version of Bowcast here.
It's a long time in coming. It's going to be, the relaunch is going well and it's going to be pretty fun, I think. And I mean, perfect synergy since you were such good friends to the show back in the day. I thought that it would be perfect to have you on.
Yeah, I think I did this, the first Bowcast episode I ever did. I didn't have any white hair or anything back then. That's pretty cool.
I did an interview with CJ Davis when he was repping for Nikon, and I'm like, man, I have this photo of like you and me at the very first Bowcast at the Bird, and he's like, oh my God, were we ever that young? And I'm like, oh my God, were we ever that skinny? What the hell? That was so long ago.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, it's been a minute, so I'm glad to see things coming back. You know, they say, you know, if you go so many years, things become like antiques, but everything comes back in style. So, you know, here we are, right?
That's a true story. Well, why don't you, for the listeners who don't know your background and who you are and what you do, why don't you give them the high-level overview?
Well, if you don't know who I am, you might as well just stop listening right now. I mean, right? I've been around forever.
Google.
Google. Google. Yeah, Google Michael Lee Backwoods Life. You'll see everything you don't want to know. But, no, I've been around for about, 16, 18 years in the industry, and started Backwoods Life about 15, 16, 17 years ago, whatever. It's been a crazy, it flies by. You know, everybody says, especially when we all get older, oh man, time flies. Well, it seems like yesterday I was starting this whole deal at 20-something years old, and the blink of an eye, and you got to do all this cool stuff, and it happened so fast, and now you're, bam, you know, here we are. Mm-hmm. But hopefully I get to do a lot more cool stuff before, you know, I check out of here. But we've had a good run. But, Backwoods Life, been on TV. I think this actually will be, I think, year either 16 or 17, and been with Lethal Products for full-time with them, you know, in my VP role for over 4 years now, and I was doing marketing for them a couple years before that. So it's kind of been an outdoor, I guess, conglomerate for myself for a long time now.
And, you know, it's funny, too, because in the outdoor industry, I mean, iPod faded. Everybody, it's very cyclical for some people. Some people, you know, they jump in with both feet and they don't realize how much work and how much effort and how much heartache goes into the outdoor industry at times. And what do you contribute to your success for having been around so long and being as successful as you have been for so many years?
Well, I mean, I'll prelude that a little bit with success is different for everybody, right? I mean, if this is an industry you want to get in to be rich and famous, you need to start out being richer and more famous because, you know, you go broke in here. But no, I mean, I've been very blessed for a long time to you know, finally turn that corner as a business owner in this industry to make some money, you know, in something that I really love and enjoy to do. And honestly, I contribute to that by being an approachable person. I consider myself to be a nice guy, be somebody that I'm proud to be, that I represent companies I work with to the best of my abilities. And I try to just do the right thing is what it boils down to. I mean, there's, in any business, no matter what it is, you've got people that are out there for basically just their own personal gain. Well, that's fine. And you may be extremely successful that way. But me, myself, of course, we all want to be successful and, you know, make a good living in what we love to do. But at the same time, I want to lay my head down at night and know that I help this guy out over here, this girl out over there be successful in what they're doing, and I expect nothing in return. So I've always kind of had that attitude. I've always kind of, hey, I want to do the right thing. I want to work with good people. I want people with the same kind of values as I have to build relationships with. And, you know, just like in any other industry, there's good, there's bad, and there's indifferent people. And you try to partner myself with good people and do good things, and good things will happen to you, what it boils down to.
That's a good way of putting it. How do you balance work and personal life? Because you're on the road a lot. More well, than like insurance salesmen.
Well, yeah, that's true. I guess the best way to answer that is you capitalize on the coronavirus time at home.
Right.
No, and it really has kicked us pretty hard this turkey season to not be able to travel as much and do some things we had planned. But I guess the short answer of that is, you know, make your time at home count and include your family, close friends, whatever the case is, in as much of what you're doing as possible. You know, if I can take my better half on a trip with me, I do it. If I can take my dad on a trip with me, I do it. You know, anybody that I can include in what we do, I do it every chance I get. So that's kind of how you kind of keep that, you know, level playing field, if you will, enjoying, you know, your family and friends, even though I'm gone so much and on the road so much and running back and forth here and there. But I do enjoy being at home. Like we just bought a new house back in February, and we've moved in and gotten pretty settled now and everything. And of course, being forced to stay at home for over a month now, we've kind of really gotten settled. But you know, it's one of those things where I've reached a point in my life where I really enjoy being at home and enjoy doing things here. And then, you know, getting to go hunting and all that's great. But it's kind of, this spring has kind of taught me a lot about hunting at home, hunting on my own property more, taught me a lot of patience as far as being at home and, you know, working from home all the time and even hunting on land. It's a little bit tougher than some of the places I get to go. So, you know, I think in the big scheme of things that you just got to find what works for you and your family. And, you know, hopefully you got a good supporting cast to support what you're doing to be gone all the time.
Sure. With having a TV show and having the opportunity to travel to other places to keep the content fresh for your TV show, how have you handled that part of it with everything being on lockdown? I mean, people don't even think about that. There are lots of filming production crews out there who aren't able to get it done, you know, what they had on the books and planned. How has it affected your show with everything going on? It's been pretty good because we've really had a good turkey season here in Georgia and Florida. And I've gone out of state to Alabama and Tennessee, which are obviously you know, pretty convenient and close. And I've had good trips, but it really, I think it makes you create better content because you have less to work with, if that makes sense. Like we go to Texas and, you know, places out west, whatever, and where we just can go have, you know, kill 5-6 turkeys in 2 or 3 days and just have all this footage. But now, you know, hunting in Georgia where these birds we have are a lot tougher to hunt. Like one I hunted, I mean, I stayed on this bird for 6 hours, him and his compadre, before I tagged one of them. But it makes you really understand more of how, and I hate to say it, the average person hunts, because you're that average person when you only hunt a piece of property that don't have, you know, this is all I've got. You know, I've got to make it count. So I think it's made me honestly exercise a lot more patience, really hunt. I hate using the term hunt harder, because what the heck does hunting hard mean? I mean, you got like a mean face on the whole time you're hunting or something, or what? I don't know. I mean, people say, man, I hunted hard. Well, I hunt the way I hunt no matter what. Sometimes I just slow it down. I think things through a little bit more because I've got to analyze the situation more to be successful. You know, if you're hunting a piece of property that's 1,000 acres and you've got, you know, 20 gobblers on it to hunt, your odds are a lot better than hunting that 1,000 acres that's got 5. Yeah.
So that's the kind of approach, you know, that's the kind of approach you've had to have.
That's interesting. And that, yeah, I can see that. I can imagine that with a show, especially a successful hunting show, it takes a lot more. How do I even explain this without sounding like a jerk? Like, you have more opportunities, but they're like essential opportunities because you have X amount of TV episodes that you have to come up with. You have X amount of minutes of footage you must get. There's no like, oh, I had a shitty season, so I guess I just won't have any episodes this year. So, like, oh darn. Yeah. So glad I paid all this money for the airtime, but I guess I won't publish anything. But
you hit the nail on the head.
You know what I mean? So I can imagine that having a show forces you to maybe work with more outfitters and stuff, and you sell advertising so you can maybe afford more outfitters, where the guy working at Walmart might not have that opportunity. So it's kind of interesting to me to hear you say that. Just I wonder how many other TV show hosts and stuff are like, gosh, it's reminding me of where it kind of came from, like having to hunt public land and stuff.
And the thing with it is, I mean, I do hunt my own land, either
Mm-hmm.
family land or our lease property. I mean, I hunt for deer and turkeys every year, and I mean, I make it a point to, shoot a turkey and deer on my own property every year. I mean, that's my goal, is to do, I can shoot 2 bucks in Georgia, we can shoot 3 gobblers in Georgia, so I try my best to do that. Most of the years, honestly, I don't shoot both of my bucks and I don't shoot 3 gobblers, but some years I do, some years, but I think what it does is it kind of simplifies things back down to, yes, I'm blessed to have that property to hunt and have the means to pay for it and, to make it the best that I can do with it. And that also takes you down to the guy that's sitting right next to you that has the land right next to you. They're doing the same thing. They're out there trying to work hard or, hunt how they want to hunt on their property. And you get lucky or, you manage and pull it off. But, doing what we do, we have been blessed to go hunt with a lot of outfitters. And honestly, I've hunted with less and less outfitters over the years, not because I don't like outfitters, but I've made friends through the industry. So a lot of people are like, hey, hey, come to my place and go deer hunting. Hey, come to my place and go turkey hunting. And I enjoy that as much as anything because, hunting with family and friends is how I grew up hunting. It wasn't, my first hunt I didn't hunt with an outfitter, honestly, at all until I was able to start backwoods life. And, that opened those outfitter doors for us here and there. But I grew up, hunting with my uncles and cousins and my dad and grandfathers. And when I get an invite from my friend, whoever they are, wherever they're at, and I go, it ain't even about killing something. It's not about filling that tag. It's about having a good time, enjoying being with your friend or family member. And really, it takes you back to why I started to hunt in the first place. It wasn't about going hunting and killing deer. That's the added bonus. It's about being at camp and enjoying, having a good time, telling lies around a campfire and eating good and, just enjoying that. And honestly, when we started Backwoods Life years ago, I got away from that because I got caught up with, hey, I'm going to Missouri, I'm going to Kansas, I'm going, da-da-da-da-da. And that's fine. I'm not knocking any of that. It's a blast to run around and hunt with different outfitters and see different places. I've been blessed to do stuff I never would have dreamed of. But it is nice to bring it back, slow things down, so to speak. And maybe I'm getting old and cynical or whatever, but don't get me wrong, I still like to shoot stuff, and I still have to because of what we do. But at the end of the day, I can take, where I used to shoot 10 turkeys in a season, and now I can shoot 3, and I can have just as much fun and have just as much of a story,
Sure. It's exhausting. I can't even imagine. I don't know how many times people are like, oh, well, you have this great podcast. Why don't you do TV show or videos? Hell no. You know how much work that is? No, thank you. Gosh.
Somebody asked, I came up with this answer years ago, and one of my good friends, he uses it all the time when people ask him because he's done some of the TV stuff with us. But somebody asked me a long time ago, it's like, hey, man, how do I start my own TV show and do what you do? I said, you'd be better off giving me $100, let me kick you in the balls and send you on your way.
Right? Seriously.
That is exactly the best way to put that. I mean, people ask me all the time, like, would you do it over again? Well, yes, from our track record and the path we took, I would do that over again. But if you told me I had to start today with the same situation as we did 15 plus years ago, there's no way I would do it. It's changed so much since
it's
then.
It's such a different animal. Oh my God.
Yeah, it is. Honestly, this is one of the. I mean, it's one of the funnest things to do, but it is absolutely one of the hardest things to do.
Yeah, I agree.
Unless you just want to do it for free and give your money away. Now you can do that all day long.
Sure.
But if you want to do this and make a living, that's all. That's one of the hardest things to do.
I know. The especially with the saturation that's out there today. Everybody's got their own YouTube channel. Everybody's got a podcast. Everybody's got a vidcast. Blah, blah, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, hey, look, I'm all for it. I'm all for people chasing their dreams and having fun with what they're doing. But you got to have realistic expectations. I wanted to be a professional baseball player growing up, and I played for many, many years. I played a lot further than most people do. But at the end of the day, I realized, hey, I can't do that. So this is the same thing. You have to realize that there comes a point where, guess what? I'm probably not going to have a successful television show, and I need to figure out what I want to do with my life. Yeah.
Well, do you think that in comparison from back then to say today, do you think your turkey hunting tactics have changed over the years as well?
Well, I think it's a two scenarios to that. Yes, to answer your question, but it's because of my learning curve from making all the mistakes over the years, right?
Okay.
There's everybody. I mean, everybody loves a textbook turkey hunt, and I'll go through a really brief description of a textbook turkey hunt. We get up before daylight. We go out in the woods. We stand there. Okay, this bird's gobbling right here. He's on the roost. We ease in. We get 100 yards from him. We sit down. We get set up. He pitches down. We call a few times. He's answering us, and he comes into the decoy. He struts, puts on a show, and he gets shot. That is a textbook turkey hunt for the most part, right?
Like the perfect hunt.
That's a perfect. That's a great morning, man. You're at Waffle House by 8 o'clock.
I was just gonna say, and then you go get breakfast.
Yeah, you're eating a waffle and some scrambled eggs and bacon, right? Man, we got him in the truck.
Yeah.
So that's exactly the perfect turkey hunt. But now, when I first started turkey hunting, it's like, okay, guess what, y'all? I heard one gobble this morning. Mm-hmm. And that's it. That's my whole morning. I heard him gobble, man, and I called a few times, and he might have gobbled at me once, but, there's that.
Yeah. Right.
And times change. Turkey populations, fortunately, around here, they increased, and, but now, I mean, don't get me wrong, I still do that same tactic that I did back then, but with the use of trail cameras, with the use of learning, aerial maps and apps on your phone to know where to, we've got a way better advantage than we used to on deer and turkeys alike. But I mean, I have really utilized trail cameras to turkey hunt,
really?
Especially on my lease and my family farm. Because we'll set trail cameras out on food plots and just historical places we know turkeys go through. We may burn this section of trees, and there's this particular hill that they like to scratch around on after we burn that place. I mean, it's a lot of history of learning, but also you can check those trail cameras. You go into your phone and all that. Well, he's there at 12 o'clock every day, so I mean that's the spot I need to target midday. If he's there at 5 in the evening, well, don't go there in the morning because he may not be there. Make sure, he's in there about 3 o'clock. We'll get in there and wait on him. Or, hey, he pitches down off the roost, and this is where he comes to strut. Bam. We're in the ball game before the sun even comes up. We know kind of his area. And I've used that a lot to hone in on birds and know kind of where they're at. And that's good. I mean, I especially here at home, man, when I'm traveling with outfitters and stuff or hunting with friends, some of my friends run cameras like that, but, that's kind of how it's worked for me here. Your second type of textbook hunt is, hey, we go out, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. We just kind of run and gun a little bit. We're easing through the woods. We call a little bit, boom, one answers and comes in. I mean, we still do those exact type things. But I think me personally, I've learned when to call, when not to call, how to judge a bird's attitude, know if I'm getting that courtesy gobble or if he's really interested gobble, and honestly, being patient. That's killed more turkeys than anything.
True story. It's a true story. That's cool. I guess everybody always focuses on trail cameras for deer. Because
Hmm.
I don't really hear a lot of people talking about using trail cameras for turkey hunting, to be honest with you.
It,
Everybody just
it, hey, look,
always focuses on deer.
well, you got to think about this. If you've got your trail camera, especially cell cameras now in spots that
Oh yeah.
they frequent, then you know that turkey's going to be there between daylight and dark. So it's just now you've already honed it into 12 hours.
Right.
So that
Good
buck's gonna come
point.
in there at 12:30 a.m., 2 a.m., 4 a.m., and well, he's
Yeah.
gone till 8 p.m. And that's how that works. But it's a great tool. I've like I said, I've had a lot of success over the years by doing that. But and honestly, you said a lot of people think use trail camera for deer, and I do that as well. But I'll be honest with you, I use it early season to see what kind of inventory I have, and I use it late season to see what inventory is left. During
Sure.
the rut and stuff like that, I don't really worry about trail cameras. I just try to find places I can either see a long ways if I'm not super familiar with the place, or I target areas that I know these does are going to hang out, and I just let it happen after that. Because don't get me wrong, I mean, patternable deer are easy to target, especially early season and late season. But during the middle of the season, heck, you don't never know what's going to show up.
I was just gonna say, especially during the rut, you could see one deer on a trail camera get all excited. You'll never see him again. It just depends.
Exactly.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. Just out of curiosity, do you use different turkey hunting tactics, say in Florida compared to Tennessee?
Absolutely. Um, and I say this, and I know people may argue with me, my turkeys and their turkeys, but I'm a firm believer. If you can come and hunt my property and you can consistently kill the gobblers I have on my property, you can kill turkeys just about anywhere in this country, because the southeastern, eastern, and in parts of Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, Florida, even the Osceolas for the most part. Some of these are they eat through their feet. They don't even put their head down. They're looking, and they're so smart. That they're really hard to kill. So down here in this area, even Florida, Georgia, etc., I'm going to have a way different technique than I am in, Texas, Tennessee, Missouri, Kansas. One of my favorite places to hunt in this country is Texas, and it's because they have so many freaking critters out there to hunt. It's like you're going to go out there in deer season. You're going to see a pile of deer. You're going to see hogs, whatever you got. There's stuff to shoot. Turkeys. I have never in my life seen some of the numbers of turkeys as I have, especially South Texas on some ranches I've been on. There's been places where I've called in 15 gobblers in 3 days. Just, who's got a tag? You want to go kill one? Come on, let's go. All right, yep. Bam, he got one. All right, sit down, get ready. All right, there he is, shooting. It's freaking awesome. So I'm going to hunt totally different out there. I'm just going to go run and gun and, just find one that wants to die out there. Where here, I'm going to camp out. I got to be real slick. All right, I got to
Right.
talk him in real nice to him so he'll come ease over here. So I might get a shot at him before it gets dark after sitting here all day.
That's funny. That's funny. I I've been turkey hunting in South Dakota 5 times now for turkeys. And I
Mm-hmm.
swear to God, those turkeys out there are way smarter than the ones in Wisconsin. I swear to God, they are. It is amazing. I swear to God, they are, because I've killed in lots of different states, and South Dakota, for some reason, keeps skunking me. So I know what you're saying.
I was going to say, I hunted in South Dakota the first time last year, and I hunted 20 minutes. Oh, yeah. We had, actually,
Oh
I
my
took my
gosh.
dad, and my dad, he needed to marry us to complete his Grand Slam.
Mm-hmm.
So we fly from here, we connect in Minneapolis, fly into Sioux Falls, drive, way west hours. All
To
right,
the
we
Black Hills.
glass. Yep. I think we're further west than that. I don't even know where we're at. We're in the middle of freaking nowhere. I think like everybody had the same name in this town. I don't even know. But we glass this field. We're gonna hunt the next morning. We pull up on this ridge, look in this field. There's 7, 8 gobblers out there with a bunch of hens.
Oh, wow.
You see our blind we're gonna be in. Like, yeah, you see those 3 strutters right there? They were in that blind. That's where we're gonna be in the morning. Cool. Think we'll be in a good spot. They all fly up. We leave. Next morning we get in there, and right off the roost, bird pitches down, comes right to the decoy. Gobbler, he's walking around the decoys, and there's all kind of birds gobbling. I mean, it was nonstop gobbling for a good 3 to 5 minutes, just nonstop. And I was like, this bird standing at the decoy, and my dad's like, hey, do you want me to go ahead and shoot him? I was like, well, just wait. Let's see if we can shoot a double. And sure enough, 2 more break off and come in there. We shoot a double. The original gobbler that was out there, he goes back to the herd, if you will, because there's about 20 birds in this field. And then we're sitting there, and all right, we killed our 2 birds. We've been hunting 20 minutes.
Oh, my gosh.
The guide was here, and he's like, well, I'm not going to take anybody else on this farm this year, so I've got a tag. I said, well, heck, you want to shoot one? And he's like, sure. So we sit there, and the main herd, if you will, goes back in the creek bottom, and then here come 2 gobblers pop out, and they come into the decoys with 2 dead turkeys laying there. He shoots that one. So we got 3 dead turkeys, and then his buddy that was with him, the 4th gobbler, he just stands there for 20 minutes gobbling. And there's 3 dead turkeys laying around him, and then he walks off, and we're out of tags. So we're like, all right, cool, man. One for next year. So, and that's my first and only time hunting in South Dakota was last year. And I was going to go back this year, but then, the world came to an end. So here we are.
Right? I know. I can imagine that I love turkey hunting out of state. It's inexpensive. It's easier than trying to, especially on a DIY hunt. It's easier than deer. It's a hell of a lot less expensive. I love turkey hunting out of state. Other than Texas, where do you think it would be your favorite state to hunt? Turkeys.
Oh gosh, that's turkeys. Golly. That South Dakota was hard to beat 1 for 1.
Right.
That was a fun spot, and but on a spot that I've been to multiple times, Kansas is pretty fun. I've shot quite a few birds there, and shot Rios out in the western part. And actually, I'm looking at one on my wall right now. He was a double-bearded Rio with 1.5-inch spurs that I killed, and I killed 2 Rios with 1.5-inch spurs on that trip, and I was like, dang gum, these are some giant turkeys. So
yep,
that was a lot of fun.
And they have really interesting places to hunt out there. Trent Marsh and I hunted out on there's an old ammunition depot out there. That was a cool freaking hunt. We were out there for a media event, and it was just neat. You're just walking. It's just so historical, and it was such a cool hunt, and the weather was great, and the turkeys were just crazy and everywhere, and Kansas is probably one of my favorite places to hunt ever. I've been back 3 times, and it's awesome.
And I've hunted eastern Kansas, and we had a good hunt there, but it was a tougher hunt. There were a lot more trees, a lot more hills. You get out in the flat part of Kansas, and you've got basically one river bottom that runs through your property, and that's where all your turkeys are. It's the odds are really good for you. So
sure.
I'm trying to think. I've been a lot of places. Oklahoma was really fun. I've only had turkey hunted there one time, but that was a good hunt. Missouri. I forgot about Missouri. Missouri is unbelievable turkey hunt.
Yeah.
We went out there last year, and it was just wow. We had I got buddies with a bunch of leases out there, and they invited me. They didn't invite me for years. And finally I was like, all right, man, I'm gonna go. And I forgot there were 6 or 8 of us in camp. We all killed turkeys. It was crazy.
Wow, that's awesome. What fun.
And like you said, turkey hunting is one of those things, like you said, it's not a super expensive thing to do. Even going with an outfitter, it's not terribly expensive, So that's a good way.
It's a good excuse to get out. It's a good excuse it's fun to hunt in other states and stuff, and you can work towards, like you said, the Grand Slam or the World Slam, the Royal Slam, whatever the case may be. It's something to work towards, and there's different species, and they're just, I don't know. I could turkey hunt all year long.
Well, I like it when the weather's good. I like springtime. I like 40 degrees in the morning, 70 degrees in the afternoon. It's just a fun time to be in the woods. And there's nothing like a turkey gobbling and coming in and strutting into your decoys and stuff. I mean, that's one of the
True story.
most picturesque things that a hunter can experience, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Well, cool. Well, I sure do appreciate you taking some time out of your very busy day and to talk to me a little bit about what you got going on and turkey hunting. And
Well, we've got about 7 or 8 days left in our season. It ends next week, so
yeah.
I'm on the downhill slope of everything, and it's been fun though. Like I said, quarantine turkey hunting could be worse.
Right. Well, why don't you let the listeners know where they can find out more about you and where they can watch your TV show and everything that you've got going on?
Absolutely. Everybody can check us out at backwoodslife.com. All of our information is on there. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. We've got our own Roku channel. If you've got a Roku box, just look up Backwoods Life. You can add that and watch all of our, tons and tons of content there. All of our turkey hunts from this spring that we've rolled out so far are on there and online on our different social media pages and our website. So, yeah, we've got years and years of footage for people to go out there, and while you're sitting at home with nothing else to do until
right.
your governor lets you go back out and play, you can sit there and binge watch Backwoods Life until you either hate hunting or you want to go. So one or the other.
That's awesome. Well, cool. All right. Well, I will let you get back to your evening, and I appreciate you coming on.
Yes, ma'am. Always a pleasure.